Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
You guys been asking me who am I voting for? I'm gonna tell you who I'm voting for and why. But I'm gonna show you guys the video and the video that really persuaded me. Well, I already voted, so this is, you guys just gonna know. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you already know who I voted for. I feel like there are things that I have conflicts with both of these candidates. Obviously, I think Joe Biden, I'm not a fan of some of the tax policy. I'm not a fan of some of the identity politics, the pandering. I'm not a fan of Kamala Harris. I'm not a fan of the fact that he would be the oldest president to ever get into the office. I'm not. There's a lot of things I don't like, right? I'm a Christian, so I tend to be pro-life. With that said, there's a lot of stuff I also don't like about Trump. I don't like the temperament. I don't like not wanting to bring the country together. I don't like his lack of speaking out against some of these clearly social unrest issues. If you guys want to hear specifics, you can go and watch me. You can go and watch my interview with K9 Khalil yesterday. He's a rapper who's voting for Trump, and hear exactly what areas I push back in. So with that said, I'm going to tell you guys who I'm voting for by showing you a video and breaking down the specific reasons why I chose this candidate. And if you are not in a swing state, I recommend you vote for this candidate as well. Don't waste your vote.
Jo Jorgensen is the Libertarian Party's nominee for president in 2020 and the only candidate on the ballot in all 50 states other than Donald Trump and Joe Biden. A recent NPR...
So that right there, Jo Jorgensen, big giveaway, right? Jo Jorgensen is on all 50 ballots. Okay, Kanye is not, nor am I sure that Kanye is really in the personal space for me to write him in just yet. 2024 may be a different story. Jo Jorgensen is on the ballot of all 50 states, and we can track her progress. Okay, so, and she's polling at 5%. She's polling at 5%. Okay, check it out.
Our poll showed her pulling 5% nationally, which could cover the spread between the president and his challenger. According to a chorus of pundits and partisans, though, voting for a third-party candidate is a waste because it doesn't change the high-stakes battle to either toss out or keep in office Donald Trump.
You guys catch that? Pundits say that voting for a third-party candidate is a waste. Now watch this.
2021.
This is not the time to withhold our votes in protests or play games with candidates who have no chance of winning.
Jorgensen.
Yo, Michelle, I love Michelle Obama, but that was so extremely condescending to tell me or to tell anybody that withholding your vote or voting for a candidate that can't win is playing with our vote or whatever. It is extremely condescending. Okay, it is extremely condescending. And here's why. Watch this.
A 63-year-old Clemson psychology lecturer is running on a blend of standard small government rhetoric discussed with career politicians, optimism about young people, and of course, the occasional craziness that we all expect from third-party nominees.
I am running for president because government is too big, too bossy, too nosy, too intrusive. But the worst part is they usually end up hurting the very people they're trying to help.
She says that most...
So I'm not a big government guy, okay? I'm in California. Governor Newsom has been running amok, extending his executive powers over and over. And so I'm not rocking with that. I'm not rocking with big government. I like the idea of smaller government. I like the idea of limiting the reach and the power of government in people's lives. And again, I'm in a democratic state, so this is real here, all right? And a lot of the intentions of these folks are unhelpful. You know what I'm saying? They are unhelpful. So...
of her followers are either independents or first-time voters, and that the real mistake would be to vote for Trump or Biden, particularly in parts of the country where a principled vote is unlikely to impact the final outcome.
I would say if you...
A principle, we just went over the Electoral College on the last segment. A principle vote, a vote of your conscience is unlikely to sway the election to Trump or Biden. If you're in California, if you're in New York, if you're in a hard blue or a hard red state, your vote doesn't really matter. I hate to break it to you. That's how the Electoral College works. Don't be mad at me. Take it up with somebody else, okay?
You're in a solidly red state like I'm in. If you don't like what Donald Trump has been doing, if you don't like the bigger government he's given you, then voting for him is a wasted vote. And to Democrats, especially Democrats in California and New York, don't vote for Joe Biden. Vote for what you really want.
Jorgensen, who ran as the LP's vice presidential nominee back in 1996, wants to bring all the troops home, cut the size of government in half, legalize drugs, and in our interview suggested replacing Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the Supreme Court with someone like 82-year-old Alan Dershowitz, though she later recanted on social media because of his statements that torture may sometimes be acceptable, his opposition to gun rights, and what she called unresolved questions about his association with Jeffrey Epstein. Jorgensen says that Republicans have failed to live up to their promises of fiscal discipline.
A lot of people don't realize that government grew year after year after year for 8 straight years with Reagan. People keep saying, oh, look at Donald Trump, we got tax cuts. Well, yeah, but he increased spending. So the bill is eventually going to come due. He came in saying,
So Donald Trump and Ronald Reagan increased the size of government spending. That's kind of trash, in my opinion, right? So the national debt and the national deficit has gone up under someone that said they were going to get the budget and get things under control. That seems kind of trash to me. You know what I mean? And I'm personally a fiscal conservative. I don't believe in debt in my personal life. I have no debt. I have no credit cards. I owe no one nothing. Okay? So for me, that is a big deal. That is a huge, huge deal.
saying, I'm a businessman, I know how to balance a budget, I know how to cut spending, and he didn't do that. And not only did he not cut spending, he increased spending. Now we've got a bigger deficit, bigger debt. Whether you're talking education, healthcare, retirement, it all boils down to, are you in control of your dollars?
Biden, says Jorgensen, has shamelessly...
Guys, catch all that? I am not for voting for someone that's a fiscal conservative that spends money and continues to print money. That's what Trump did. Whether or not you agree with that or not, that's what Trump did. Okay, so it's inconsistent. If I could agree with some of his tax policy or his spending, I mean, on paper, he just didn't live up to it.
Pandered to voters for nearly 50 years.
People wanted to hear him say, I'm tough on crime, so he said, I'm tough on crime. And now they want to hear something else, so he's something else. He doesn't have a rudder. He doesn't have something that's guiding him. That's
he doesn't
true,
have
not only
a rudder.
About, Biden, but pretty much.
When it was cool and political to be tough on crime, your mans was tough on crime. The 1994 crime bill. Now we're all woke and we're all, fighting the social justice issues. And now it does not fit his narrative to be tough on crime anymore. So he switched it up.
Much any Democrat out there. Young people are shocked to hear that both Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama were against gay marriage just back in 2012. That was only 8 years ago.
Speaking of young people, Jorgensen is big on Gen Z, arguing that young Americans are less about cancel culture and being woke and more about being laissez-faire.
They go, well, why shouldn't you be able to own a gun? Why shouldn't two people the same sex get married? If you can drink red wine, why can't you smoke marijuana? So that overall they have a very libertarian underpinning as far as their kind of live and let live libertarian philosophy. So that's excellent news. If I could sit around the kitchen table of every American family in this country, I would win by a landslide.
Very interesting. So when it comes to those issues, those are some issues that are important to me. I want to refer you guys to a video, a TED Talk. Everything you know about addiction is wrong. And I think that is a very, very, very good video for why one can make the argument for the legalization of drugs. This video right here, everything you know about addiction is wrong. And they do studies of other countries, specifically one country that legalized all drugs. I think you guys should really examine that before you make a position where you want to legislate your morality on people. I don't do drugs. I don't drink alcohol. When you look at the consequences of prohibition with alcohol and how bad it was when alcohol was illegal and how things improved, how the black market improved, all these things changed because of the legalization of alcohol, it is only logical to apply that same logic to all drugs, right? And so check out that video. Everything you think you know about addiction is wrong. If you're really open to hearing something that's challenging to you, and I think it's really important for us just to know the facts, how these things play out. I've spoke at length on this channel about Roe v. Wade. I spoke at length on this channel about how neither party is going to overturn Roe v. Wade. The Roe v. Wade was passed with a Republican Supreme Court. The Republicans had a Supreme Court in '92. And this time around, Trump and the judge he just elected, Judge Amy, both said that they have no desire to overturn Roe v. Wade. So that to me is not a variable in this equation. I think what's going to eliminate that, the need for that, is not going to be legislating it, is going to be technology overturning the need for that as birth control and contraceptives improve. So those are the reasons why I'm voting for Joe Jorgensen. If you are not in a swing state, I think you should really consider not wasting your vote on Trump or Biden if you have a conflict of interest with some of their policies. If you don't, man, vote your conscience. Vote however you feel is right for you. I'm not mad at either. I have friends in my life that are both. And above all else, hey, if you are a believer, if you're a follower of Jesus, I'm only speaking to Christians here, okay? If you're not, ignore what I'm saying. But if you are a follower of Jesus, hear me loud and clear. This week, specifically this day, do not blow your witness. Do not lose friends. Do not fall out with family over political divides, regardless on how much you think your thing is the main thing and there's only that main thing, and anybody that disagrees with your main thing is evil. You gotta let that die. And you gotta know this, okay? We can disagree about what's best for people, but we have to agree that what's best for people is what's best, and that both sides are trying to figure out what's best for people, as flawed as they are. And to me, when I look at all of it, I think they're one and the same. I think they both want to maintain power. I think they're both trying to solve problems, but causing more problems than they're solving. And I don't think either side is going to actually get any of us to where we want to get to. And I desperately think this country needs a third party choice. And if you disagree with that, that's fine. However, the point should still stand true. Christian, don't blow your witness this week. Okay? Don't blow your witness today. Don't start posting toxic things on social media. Don't engage and go back and forth with people on things that just, that you want to be combative about, regardless on how in your feelings or how right or wrong you think somebody else. Just don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. People will remember how Christians carried themselves in the midst of this time. And in this time, we need to be peacekeepers, okay? We need to be gracious. We need to be kind. We need to be compassionate. We need to be loving. If your love doesn't cost you something, meaning you swallowing your ego, you zip it for a moment and listening to people. If your love and your sacrifice doesn't cost you anything, is it truly sacrificial Christ-like love? Or is it just, I'm going to be around the people who I already agree with? That to me is not love. That to me is you're going to be stuck in an echo chamber of people who already think like you and act like you. So, vote however you want to vote. That's who I'm voting for. That's who I voted for. You got me I already voted this morning. I voted for Joe Jorgensen because she's on all the ballots. She's already polling at 5%. If she gets 5% of the popular vote, it'll open up additional funding, potentially debate stage for the Libertarian Party in 2024. And when I look at the overall policies of hers, limiting the size of government, right? Getting government out of your hair. When we look at legalizing drugs, when we look at all these things, they're the most pragmatic. They're not perfect. I don't agree with her on everything, but they're the most pragmatic and they line up with my position. And so if you think that is a thrown away vote, then you just don't understand how our party works. You don't understand how the electoral college works. You have no concept of how politics works in America. We went over that, and you're probably late here. But the truth is you just don't know what you're talking about, because we have an electoral college that unless you're in a swing state, your vote doesn't really count anyway. And if you're conflicted in any way, don't throw your vote away voting for a divisive, massively funded politician that isn't really going to appeal to the needs of the day-to-day person. That will be my thoughts, man. I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think?
King's Dream Entertainment. Ruslan.